Hi there, and this is the Topping DX3 Pro. I really like the device, not because of just how good it sounds or how much you get for the price, but also because of its unique feature set. Which is why this review will be focused on the features of the DAC amp combo. I'll leave timestamps if you want to jump to different sections of this small review. First, the build quality. It is a small desktop unit, pretty nicely built and made of metal, and it used 3.5mm jack. The volume knob is digital, very satisfying, and it also acts as a button to control the device, but it's better if you use the included remote. The remote has no included battery, however, and the instructions for installing the battery is not included in the user guide. It has a wonderful amber 8-segment display that shows the information that you need about currently playing songs, volume, and output. I'll talk about that later. I/O. This thing has a lot of I/O. You can have USB supporting up to 768 kilohertz or DSD 512. I actually don't have that many tracks for testing DSD, so bear with me. Which is absolutely overkill. Also has two digital inputs, over diff, one optical and two coaxial inputs, which does 2496, but that's enough for most people. Also has Bluetooth, which supports aptX. On the back, about outputs, it has RCA lineouts for an external amplifier and a 3.5mm jack at front. I do have one thing to say about the I/O of this device. I don't understand why you would need two coaxial inputs, which means three digital inputs, not including USB. I would rather they traded one of those coaxial inputs for an output, which would make this device even more versatile. But just a nitpick. Okay, and let's talk about using the device. It's best for us to just look at the remote. Power button puts it into standby, and it will always be ready to turn on when there's audio signal from the chosen input, for example Bluetooth. Mute button mutes. Left and right arrow change the inputs. I haven't used these PDIF other than for testing to make sure that they actually work. I mainly use the Bluetooth and USB. Bluetooth on this device is unique. The DAC amp is never actually off. It just stays there in standby. At the moment it receives a signal from your phone or from your computer, whatever you have it connected to, it will just turn back on. And of course you can choose whether it automatically turns on or off using the remote. And by default it's automatic. When this thing arrived, the USB did not work properly somehow. It needs drivers to work. Usually you just plug in and it works. Not perfectly, but it works. For this one, before installing drivers, my PC doesn't even recognize the DAC. However, it does come with instructions for installing drivers and even helpful guides on how to get the DSD to work on Fullbar 2000. This device has both headphone out and line outs, and you can change how it works. So right now it's only headphone out, and I can change it to both line out and headphone out, or just pre-out which means you can change the volume of the lineouts on the back, or just pure DAC. The DAC has 6 filters. I honestly cannot hear the difference between the filters, other than filter 3 having a very slight bass boost and a different presentation in that area. I personally only use filter 5. I'm not sure why I like it, but works. It has 2 gain modes. Right now I'm on low gain. We also have high gain plus 9 decibels, which is around twice the loudness, and display brightness. 3 levels of brightness, but there's no off. Oof. And of course, all of these settings could be accessed using the volume knob, but the process is pretty complicated. It needs you to turn the device off completely. Let's talk a little bit about the specs of this device. Okay, let's take a look at the user manual. So the specs are pretty impressive. 2 a.k.a. DAC chips, and of course DSD 512. Total harmonic distortion and noise less than 0.0005%. Signal to noise ratio more than 120 decibels at 1 kilohertz. And remember, humans can only hear a dynamic range of 120 at best. Almost no frequency response change. And 0.1 decibels channel imbalance, which means very tiny. So basically, the specs are impressive. But how does that translate into sound? Okay, so you might notice that this thing has a high-res audio certification. And that might mean a lot more or less than you might think. On the technical aspect, high-res audio means that this thing can handle 2496 kilohertz music and produce sound up to 40 kilohertz, which is way past human hearing, and I think that part of this certification is not very important. What is important, however, is, and you can see the Japan Audio Society website for this, the important part is that there's also a listening test. Someone from Japan Audio Society sat down, plugged his headphones, or whatever they have for testing, into this unit. They like it. They gave it the high-res audio certification, and boom. That is still the subjective analysis of a few person that gives this thing the high-res audio sticker, but it can at least somewhat attest to the sound quality. And me too. I am not very qualified to discuss about how this thing sounds, but I can tell that it sounds great. It has enough power to drive my HD 650s, which is hard to drive properly. And the noise floor and output impedance is low enough to drive low sensitivity, low impedance IEMs. Remember the DSN Pro that I have reviewed a couple weeks ago? This is the only DAC that can drive that without making noise. And of course, let's get a little bit into the audiophile end of stuff. Compared to the FIO E10K, which is my previous unit, the DX3 Pro sounds slightly more neutral and detailed, but the latter may very easily be my brains playing tricks on me. And furthermore, I have no complaints regarding the sound of either of these units, especially the DX3 Pro, seeing that there's no distortion at the highest volumes on high gain. The DX3 Pro can turn my HD 650s into speakers and sounds good at it. The thing is, the important reason why I like this unit so much It's not just because of the sound, but the experience of using it. Remember, we have Bluetooth and we have a remote. There is nothing better than going home and put your music on your phone right onto my lovely HD 650s. And I've been bringing my HD 650s to bed a lot recently, and this DAC is one of the reasons why. However, this unit is not perfect. It was released last year, I think in October, and I wanted to get this unit much sooner, but I waited for quite recently, and then I waited for another month to test this unit before writing up this review, because there are durability issues. The first batches of the DX3 Pros died. Well, some of them died, I think 20, 30 or something out of a couple hundreds. That is quite a lot for a product. I bought this unit a little bit more than 1 month ago from Drop. After leaving mine running for a total of 400 to 500 hours during the past month, using all kinds of inputs, including the coaxials, I'm confident that mine will last long. And look, DSD. This thing is, I dare say, it should be everyone's first step into hi-fi. Maybe not. If they know what they want, they know that they use Bluetooth, they have some headphones that are hard to drive, both either because it's too sensitive or because it's too not sensitive. And again, this is a high-performance, compact DAC amp combo that also receives Bluetooth, and it is sold at quite a competitive price. And actually, competitive is not very fitting here, because the truth is, this has no competition at all, regardless of price point. I have not seen something like this on the market. Thanks for watching. And that was way longer than expected. Sorry about that. You know what? No sorry. Thanks for watching.